Dick's Sporting Goods is going to buy Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. What does all of this M&A activity really say about retail, supply chain, and logistics in general? Basically, overnight, Dick's is going to go from a domestic brand to an international one by picking up Foot Locker. They are looking to close the deal in the back half of 2025. $2.4 billion is what this acquisition is worth. Basically, Dick's feels that this will give them a much more rounded access to the market, everything from sporting goods right to sneakerheads. The acquisition also totally blows up their TAM because now they have access to $140 billion in the US when you think of that domestic market, and $300 billion across the globe. This was really pushed a lot by Nike reverting back towards its wholesale roots as opposed to the D2C path that they had gone down, and Dick's really wanting to be at the forefront and be a major channel for a lot of these big retail brands. Now, it's easy to think that as a smaller brand or an independent brand, these types of things don't really matter to you, but why do they actually have impact? Well, first and foremost, even though Dick's is saying that Foot Locker is going to run as an independent business unit, they are still expecting right off the bat a few $100 million in synergies, right? They're talking about sourcing and procurement, but the reality is anyone that is going to get a hold of similar types of products like this should be continuing to look at driving more efficiencies and more synergy through their supply chain by blending these sort of back-end activities together. In addition, this keeps making it harder for other brands to compete because when these large corporations, for example, take more of the market and have more of the brand representation that people are looking for, it allows them to keep that mind share of the consumer and keeps giving them opportunities to go into their stores and to spend their precious dollars there as opposed to spreading it around. And like everything in the economies of scale, the more that people are buying and the more product that's moving through the channels, the overall cheaper things become, and they can continue to offer it at more and more of a discount, or at the very least with different types of promotions and different types of ways to connect with consumers. M&A is going to continue to be a huge activity both at retail but also in the logistics and operations sectors just because of all of the cost pressures in the market and the need for all of these public companies to continue to show growth and year-over-year revenue gains. As a small business, it just becomes that much harder to keep connected to your customers, especially if you are doing it just based on price or if you're doing it on certain geographic availability, because these large conglomerates like Amazon and Walmart and now Dick's and all of these other ones keep taking more and more of the market and finding ways to penetrate deeper with consumers. It really highlights why it's so important for smaller brands, especially to really have a strong social commerce strategy, to have operations that are really dialed into it, and to double down on the fact that they have a different connectedness and community with the people that are buying from them that is very difficult for large multinational chains to replicate.